Hi, Sonny here. This is Loudness, Ashes in the Sky, also known as Shadows of War from the Japanese album. And this is the at the end of the intro when the full band kicks in to the chorus. It's basically the rest of the song. So let's go over that. And the chords we are playing, let's go through the first part. First part goes like this. So I'm doing the A power chord and the 3rd fret of your E. Bend it just a little bit. You play the A power chord again, and you play the open A string. You play the F power chord at the 3rd position. Basically, it's the middle 2 string, 3rd fret of your D, and 5th fret of your G. And then you play the open A string one time. And then you play the flat 5 interval, which is 3rd fret of your D and 4th fret of your G. And then you play again open A string once, and you play the E major 3rd interval. Basically the 2nd fret of your D and 1st fret of your G. So the first part goes like this again. Once I play that, what I would do is I use my ring finger and play the 3rd fret of your E, and then you switch hand really quick. You play the A power chord of your index finger, and you play the middle finger. Use your middle finger to play the 3rd fret of your E this time. So again, it goes like this. Ring finger. So you go from ring finger to middle finger back to the A power chord again. Ring. Once you play the E major, ring finger, A power chord, switch to middle finger, A power chord again. All right. After that, you repeat the same thing, but instead of playing the E major 3rd interval, we're going to move up and play the G power chord at the 5th position. And that's basically the 5th fret of your D and 7th fret of your G. So the whole thing goes like this. Repeat that again. The last time I played this, instead of playing the G power chord, I'm playing the G major 3rd. Basically, I'm playing the 5th fret of your D and 4th fret of your G. And then it goes to the little A minor, a little tiny solo right here. what I do is I bend from the 7th fret of your G and bend it to the 9th fret pitch, basically is the E note. I use my ring finger and I put my index and my middle finger behind it, give it some strength, grab the neck and just bend it up. Once you release it down, you play the 7th fret of your D string with your middle finger. So 7th fret of your G, 7th fret of your D. Release. And then you play the 4th fret of your G. Hammer on with my ring finger. You need your middle finger to do the next part. So make sure you, after you play the 4th fret of your G, you hammer on with your ring finger on the 5th fret. You slide up to 7th fret. Okay. Again, I'm just playing that part here. And you play the 5th fret again. And then you slide with your ring finger again. Okay. To the 9th fret. And the reason why we use a ring finger before, because you need your index finger, your middle finger now. You have to use the middle finger to play the 8th fret of your B string. Okay. So you basically use the middle finger from the 8th fret and slide up to the 10th fret on the B string. Do it really quick. So again, it goes like this. 7th fret of your G, release. 7th fret of your D. 4, 5, 7 of your G. So you hammer on the 5th fret and you slide to 7th fret. Okay. 5th fret of your G. And slide really quick up to the 9th fret. And the next part, you slide really fast from 8th fret to 10th fret of your B. You play the index finger, use your index finger to play the 8th fret again on the B string. Hammer on to the 10th fret of your B. Bend it out. Bend it up to 12th fret. Release it back down. And that's when you play the slow part. When it's doing that, the solo you have to end on the 9th fret of your G string. I'll just hammer on to 9th fret without picking it. So again, the solo goes like this. Alright. After that part, the singing starts and is playing this really clean part. It goes like this. Do it a little more cleaner. Turn the volume down a little bit. So what I'm doing here is I play the open A string, 7th fret of your D, 5th fret of your G, open B string, slide up and you play the open A string again, 9th fret of your D, 7th fret of your G, open B string, and then you move your hand up and you play the 3rd fret of your E with your middle finger, and you open G string, open B string, and then use your pinky and play the 3rd fret of your B string. Alright, and then you play the open D string, hammer on to the 3rd fret of your middle ring finger, and then you play the 2nd fret of your G string with your index finger, and then open B string. So play slowly, it goes like this. Again. G, 3rd fret of your B string with your pinky. While you leave your pinky on, you play the open D string. Hammer onto 3rd fret with your ring finger, and then you can lift up your pinky and play the 2nd fret with G and open B string, just like that. Alright, so and the last time, I'm sorry, and you play the G power chord. Alright, and the next part, it goes like this. You play the A power chord, and then you lightly mute and you strum on the open A string 5 times. And then you play the 5th fret of your D and G. The last part you play, basically you lift up your ring finger, you play the 5th fret of your D and 4th fret of your G. So again, this part goes like this. And then 5 times again on the A string, and then you play 9th fret of your D and 7th fret of your G. You slide up to 7th fret of your D and 5th fret of your G, and then you play the open A string again 5 times, and then you play the 10th fret of your D and 9th fret of your G, open A string 1 time, 9th fret of your D and 7th fret of your G, open string 1 time, 12th fret of your D and 10th fret of your G, open string again, and then you play G power chord. So the whole thing goes like this. I'm sorry. So so that's 10th fret of your D, 9th fret of your G, 9th fret of your D, 7th fret of your G, and then 12th fret of your D and 10th fret of your G, and then back to 10th fret of your D and 9th fret of your G, and then you play the G power chord. Alright, the next part goes like this. You play the A power chord, open A string just 1 time, and then you play the 5th fret of your D and G, and then you do the A string up, down, down, up really fast, and the 7th fret of your D and G, and then down, up again on the A string, and then you play the 5th fret of your D and G, but I use my middle finger and ring finger on those 2 notes. Lift it up and play the 5th fret of your D and 4th fret of your G. And then after that part, you play the 7th fret of your A and D string with your pinky, and then 5th fret with A and D string. And then you play the 3rd fret of your D, A and D, slide down the 2nd fret of your A and D with your index finger, and then you play the G power chord, 3rd fret of your E and 5th fret of your A. I use my pinky. Some people use the ring finger to play the power chord. I find it more comfortable to use the pinky instead. So that part goes like this again. The next part, that's 9th fret of your D, 7th fret of your G. Open D string, 7th fret of your D, and 6th fret of your G. I'm sorry, take that back. 7th fret of your D and 5th fret of your G. Open D string one time, and then 5th fret of your D and 4th fret of your G. Open D string again, and you play 5th fret with D and G. And then you play the F power chord. That's basically 1st fret of your E string and the 3rd fret of your A. Again, I use pinky to play my power chord. Again, it goes like this. Alright. I'm sorry, let's start over again. And then it ends on the little lick. It goes like this. I use downstroke, all downstroke, slightly mute. Play the 5th fret of your E, high E string and B string. And then you play the 8th fret of your B and 7th fret of your G. Alright. And then 5th fret of your B and G. And 7th fret of your G and D. And then you move your hand up. And you play 9, 10, 12 frets on your D string. So down, up, down. And then you play a 9th fret of your G. Hammer on to 10th fret. Play 12th fret of your D string. And then you play 9th fret of your G. Again, slowly. And it goes back to the so that's the whole song. That's pretty much the rest of the song for Ashes in the Sky. Enjoy.